Hi guys, welcome to today's video. Today I have a new entry for this year's project ban, and it's gonna be about this palette from Natasha Denona. It's the mini nude palette. I've had this palette for about a year, a little bit more than a year, and it's mostly neutral palette, which I don't really tend to go for, but for the sake of this video I kind of wanted to pan it and see how much product you get in this packaging and all that good stuff. And I just kind of wanted to see how many looks I can do with it, and also test the quality, because this was my first ever palette from Natasha Denona. For this palette I really like the matte shades, the kind of more beigey brown and also the deeper brown. I think the quality is great. They're really easy to layer. I really enjoyed working with them, but the shimmers were awful. They were super lightly pressed, so it was really messy to work with it. There was a lot of fallout, and just the eyeshadow formula didn't really want it to last in the pan, and it was very dusty and just very messy. I also didn't like the inner corner highlight. It had this really weird undertone and texture that it kind of made the skin look really old and kind of not really, it didn't really look like a real skin. It kind of looked like some kind of doll or some kind of weird wax figurine. It was really weird texture and it looked really bad. I don't know why, and I really didn't enjoy the look of it. And it was this kind of weird undertone that it pretty much only worked with these type of browns, but you couldn't use it with any other color, at least of what I tried. I don't think it was a good idea to put it there. Maybe if there was, instead of matte white or a light beige shade, I think that would be a better option than this shimmer. For me, the shimmer formula isn't any good, and I would never reach for this formula. But the matte shades were kind of nice, and if they were in colors that I do actually enjoy wearing, I might buy that color story instead. When it comes to kind of the statistics of this, this palette has 5 shades, and each shade is 0.8 grams or 0.028 ounces or something like that. I'm gonna measure everything in grams because I don't understand ounces, so I hope that's okay. When it comes to hitting the pan on these, the first shade that I hit pan on was the shade Coin, which was this matte light beigey brown, and that was only because I used it a lot, because you kind of use it all over the eyes and everywhere to build a crease. Then second shade that I hit the pan on was the shade Sienna, which is this deeper shimmer shade. That one I didn't mind that much, even though the quality wasn't great and it had a lot of fallout, but it was this more grungy version of brown, and if you paired it with black eyeliner, it was kind of okay. It looked more grungy and a little bit darker, deeper, more sultry maybe. That one I didn't mind that much, so I hit pan on it quite quickly. Also because you had to use finger for these, I couldn't use brush to pick these up. Because it's a very loose formula, you would get to the pan really quickly, and then a lot of the products would be kind of on the sides of the pan. Then I hit the pan on the Lumina shade, which is the middle shade, that's inner corner highlight. To be honest, I mostly just kind of put this shade on, and then I put either bright white matte shade on top of it or some other shimmer on top of it. I just wanted to use this shade up, so I would kind of cover it up usually, because I really didn't enjoy how it looked. It was really loose in the pan, and I would get a lot of fallout, and a lot of the shade would kind of dust off. Then second to last was the shade Soil, because it's matte shade and it's the darkest one, so I would mainly use it in the outer corner. So it took a little bit of while to get there, but when I finished up the shade Coin and I didn't have any other matte shade here, I would usually only use the darker matte to create the entire look and then just put some kind of a shimmer on my eyelid. And the last shade that I had pan on was the shade Bronzage. I absolutely hated this shimmer because this one was probably the most tricky to work with. It was extremely loose in the pan, and even before I started using this palette, I had to repress this shade so many times. I think in total I had to repress it like 10 times. So obviously you lose a lot of the product. This one I didn't get a lot of uses out of it. This one wasn't really well produced. I don't know what went wrong with this shade, but it definitely wasn't the same quality. I think if they swap this shade for some other matte, even like lighter matte shade, it would be much better. Or even if this was black matte shade, it would be still better. In total, I used this palette 168 times. Plus I swatched this palette twice, so it's like 117. Pop on the screen somewhere the whole like statistics, all the numbers, all the info, and also how many times I used this in total, how many, like what's the average amount of uses for each shade and stuff like that. For me, this definitely wasn't a purchase that I would be happy about. I think I liked this palette only for like 2 months, and then it started to change the quality or the formula. The matte shades, after you hit pan on them, they kind of hardened a little bit. There was this like crust on top of them that you have to scrape off because otherwise you wouldn't pick any of the pigment. As I said, the shimmers were extremely loose and you would just get a lot of fallout. If I could redesign this palette, I would keep the 2 matte shades. I would add either matte white or extremely light beige shade or black. So either you could have a deeper option here or have the white shade as like inner corner highlight. I would keep the shade Sienna as like shimmer shade, but I would definitely work on the formulation, and I would completely get rid of the shade Bronzage. So yeah, I think instead of the shade Bronzage there could be a matte black. Instead of the shade Lumina you would put a matte white or something like that. Even though these palettes aren't as expensive in the mini form, I mean Natasha Denona isn't really cheap brand, but I still think it's not really worth the price. You're not getting as much product. The packaging is really flimsy, and like even though I didn't really travel with it, it kind of broke apart a little bit. It's really easy to break it, and so yeah, I wouldn't really recommend this, but I want to try more of the matte shade, more of the matte formula from Natasha Denona. So maybe if I'll see like all matte palette or something like that, I might buy it. On the other hand, I don't really go for all matte looks or all matte palettes. I don't know if I want to buy anything else from that brand for this particular reason. Yeah, that will be it for today's video. Let me know if you've tried any of these minis or the midi and large versions of these palettes, and what you thought about the formula. And let me know if you liked this style of video. I will also post like a shorter version on Instagram, TikTok and stuff like that. So let me know if you like more the shorter version, or if I should keep posting these longer versions as well. And yeah, that's it for today's video. I hope you liked it, and I will be happy to see you in another video. Have a great day. Bye.